It's the Miss Knockout Show on the airwaves. So like, if I share, if I bless, if I the flow. It's the Miss Knockout Show. Now you already know. Hot topics, music, info, and more. If you ain't tapped in, what you came here for? MKO got the vibe, that's a full takeover. From beast to biz talk, yeah, the queen stay in clover. Trending every lane, I'm the glow you can't block. When I drop gems, whole chat go shock. We don't do brokeify, now we amplify. Stay blessed if I let the energy fly. Hit that tapify, keep it all in the flow. Cause it's the Miss Knockout Show. Knockout Show. Hot topics, beats and the glow. You rockin' with Miss Knockout. Let's go. Let's fuck.
And welcome everybody to the live. My name is Miss Knockout. How's everybody doing today? Let's get it started. Okay, we got a good show planned for you on this Friday. All right, it's the weekend. Hope everybody has a nice start of the weekend. If you're at work, put me on the Bluetooth. If you're at home, put me on the speakers. You at work, put your headphones in. All right. So when your boss tells him say what you're doing, you could be like, nothing. Right. All right. And then you clean the house or whatever. Put me on the Bluetooth. I'll let you announce about the tap. Oh, okay. Okay. I got to look at it. I came out of the Discord because, I could see it. Because, I have to, when I come in, until I get my new computer, right, I could only have so many windows open because my computer is barely strong enough. Can you put a picture of the Android or the app icon? It shows me different one. Okay, so that's why you got to click the link, Zoe. So I have links there, all right? So right in that message where it says, here is the information for the blankety blank, right next to that, there's a link that you click and it brings, I understand. Yeah, but you still want me to put the picture? Do you still want me to put the picture? Or you want me, I could show it to you because I can't do it now because I'm on live. I wish I would have seen it before I went live. All right. But I could show you. Want me to show it to you? Hold on. Let me show it to you. Let me show you what it looked like. Hold on. Okay, here's what it looked like. You see that hand up there? You see the hand? That's what it looks like. Right? That's what it looks like. You go with the one that got the most reviews and the most downloads. That's the one that works. But the link that I gave you should have brought it right to it. So I got to recheck the link. But that's what it looks like. Did you get a screenshot of it? Or should I hold it up again? Did you get a screenshot of it? Or should I hold it up again? All right, everybody, come on in. Today we are taking ourselves to Congress. Let's build the room back up. These people, if I don't start right away, all right? Okay, do you want me, did you get a screenshot of it, Zoe? You get a screenshot? Or you need me to hold it back up for you? Let's see if I can. Let me go on the Play Store. Let's go on the Play Store. Hold on, y'all. Hold up, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. I know some of y'all gonna leave, but I wanna hold on. Wait a minute. Dang. Okay, hold on. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Okay, there it is. Okay, so you put in auto clicker, and it's the third one down. You see it there with the hand? It says install. You see there with the hands? That's the one I got. Okay, the one with the hand. So you put in auto clicker in the search, and it's the third one down. All right. I'm gonna tell you how many how many installs it have. Hold on. It has 765K reviews. 765K reviews and 100 million downloads. That's the one you want. All right, everybody. So everybody come on in. Let's get started. All right. I want everybody to tapify, shareify. Let's build the room out. Right. Let's build the room out so that when we get going, we can get some people in here. And that way everybody won't miss what we're doing. All right. So everybody shareify if you can. Repost. All right. Do a repost. And everybody come on in. So now we are going to go to the messy. We can't make this stuff up, you. We can't make this stuff up. We can't make it up. All right. Congress got messy because they had a meeting. All right. Because allegedly people were saying, oh, I wonder why it won't let me repost. People are saying that the man whose name that starts with a P, with a C, with a K, and his last name is a P, and his eyes go like this, they accused him of allegedly having some drinkifications. Now, I'm drinking water, because I'm working. But, in my line of work, people do have drinkifications, but I can't, day drink unless I'm at a day party. You know what I'm saying? I'll be ready to take a nap. Thank you so much, Spooky. Right? Thank you. I'm ready to take a nap, right? Some people could drinkify all day. So he had multiple people allegedly reporting that he is missing meetings, allegedly locking himself in rooms, and having a drinkification, bingified doggone life behind the walls of the F to the BZ to the IZ. All right. So now they brought him in front of Congress because they had some questions that they needed answered. And in the midst of that, boy, did it turn into turmoil. And we're going to watch it all today. So I would advise you to use the restroom as you can. If you have a weak bladder, you know how when you laugh and you laugh and you're cracking up and then you pee on yourself a little bit. I don't want that to happen to you. So I advise you to go to the bathroom, or as BX would say, get your pamper, okay? Because this is a hootenanny that you're not going to want to miss. Charlene is here. Hey, Charlene, what's up? So let's do a little roll call. Let's see who's on the tick to the clues out. All right. We're over here on YouTube, the Tubes here, and all the other platforms. What's up to everybody in here? I see Charlene so far. All right. We got 3 people across all platforms. What's up to my people on the X? I see you, my people on the X. Make sure you follow me. Y'all give me the most views every day. All right. So make sure you follow me. So we getting ready to take it to Congress today. Right? And it's Friday. We're still going to have fun because it is funny as they are fighting back and forth and just going back and forth, and this is a drag out, fallout. And they question him about his drinkification. Okay. Thank you for getting your orange heart. Thank you. Hey, Heather. All right. What's up, y'all? Hey, happy Friday, Charlene. So everybody come on in. Spooky's here. What's up? So let's do a little roll call. I like to do a roll call to make sure I get everybody. All right. We got Slay Braids. We got Charlene. We got Lizzie. We got Spooky. We got Shauna. We got Clips. We got E-Money. We got Heather L. We got Show Tigger. We got Farmer 59. We got Boom Like 808. We got the Tiffany, and we got Jill Baker. Welcome to the live. I hope your Friday's starting out right. All right. So now, boy, we're gonna start, and we're gonna just keep promoting the room as we're going. because, you know, it's a 2-hour and change video. All right. So everybody, some people going to come late. If you come late, then you can watch it over on the Wide to the Tuesday. All right. What's up, Snow Ticker's right in time for the effery. Welcome, Snow Ticker. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So everybody come on in. We're going to start. All right. Let me see. See, this is when my new computer is going to come into work on the Wide to the Tuesday. It's very hard for me to show live footage because my computer doesn't have the power to push it. But we're going to do what we can. All right. We want to do what we can. So everybody come on in. And we're going to start in a minute. All right. Everybody come on in. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right. So let's get it started with no delay. All right. Because this is as ghetto as it gets, y'all. It is as ghetto as it gets, baby. Like, you know, it almost looks unreal. You're almost looking at it and saying, is this AI? But we know it's not an AI that's 2 hours long. I mean, they probably can make something 2 hours long. But you would pay a pretty penny for it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to pay a pretty penny for it. So, without further ado, let's get this started. Let's get it started. Okay, hold on. Let's get it started.
90 seconds for this NASA
so the commercial is coming on. So while the commercial is on, everybody come on in. Everybody tapify. Everybody shareify. If you're not following me and you're new, go follow me. Hit the notification button. And also, if you can,
NASA
make
space
sure you
missions.
join the super.
They were
Fans.
tired of seeing people struggle every summer
Okay.
with broken ACs.
So let's get started. Okay, let's start it from the beginning.
Our resources. We cannot look away from the credible, extremely troubling.
Okay, let's start. Let's start, John. All right, so this meeting is with the head of the FBI. Allegedly, of some accusations brought against him, and they brought him to the front of the class because they needed some questions answered. And boy, did it get messy, heated, dragged down, dragged out, and we are here for it all. All right, so let's watch, y'all. Let me see. Let me make sure you can see. Hold on, yo. Let me adjust the light. I didn't mean to turn it on. So it's going to start in a minute. They're setting up right now. It's going to start in a minute. Everybody come on in.
And related agencies will come to order. This hearing will consider the President's FY 2027 budget request for the Department of Justice's law enforcement components, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the United States Marshal Service, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. First, this hearing takes place during National Police Week, and this is a time for our country to recognize the men and women in law.
Wait 1 minute. I didn't even know they had some National Police Week. Did you know that they had National Police Week? Did you notice that they had National Police Week? Did you all know that? Because I never knew it. Okay, we're just going to put a still up on Wide to the Tuesday because it's going to lag because my computer ain't strong enough. So we're going to put it still. But if you want to watch it, you know, the clock is the place to be.
Who work every day to keep our communities and country safe. Director Patel, Saralta, I know you well, sir. And Administrator Cole, please express my gratitude to the agents and deputies, duty officers, professional staff, and families who support your agencies. I appreciate their service in Kansas. Kansans appreciate their service at home and in our country.
It's getting ready to get
and our country
crazy,
is safer because of what they do. Traditionally, the subcommittee has only received a budget defense from the Attorney General on behalf of the entire Department of Justice and the Director of the FBI. As the chairman of this subcommittee, I've had the opportunity to meet with many dedicated professional law enforcement officers and staff at ATF, the DEA, FBI, and United States Marshal Service. I've long believed that these agencies, they also deserve, in addition to the FBI, in addition to the Department of Justice, the opportunity to explain to this committee the resources they need to execute their missions. Each of you, all these agencies are important, and I want this subcommittee to be able to hear from you and to ask you questions regarding your budget requests. Our witnesses will discuss their budget requests in greater detail today, so I'll only note that each component has requested an increase above the FY 2026 enacted levels. We've had several years of relatively flat budgets, and in the case of ATF, significant reductions. These agencies need additional resources to carry out their responsibilities effectively.
Come on in.
I've seen firsthand the important work these agencies are doing in my home state, whether it's ATF expanding crime gun intelligence through its partnership at Wichita State University, DEA's effort to combat fentanyl trafficking and support law enforcement in rural communities across Kansas, the FBI's coordination with state and local partners as Kansas City prepares to host soccer matches during the FIFA 2026 World Cup, or the Marshals working alongside local law enforcement through fugitive task forces across the District of Kansas. Today's hearing is an opportunity for this committee to better understand the challenges facing each of your agencies, the resources you believe are necessary to carry out your missions, and how Congress can best support the men and women serving in the federal law enforcement. I appreciate each of you being here today, and I look forward to your testimony. Senator Van Hollen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to working with you again to write a bill that provides the resources the FBI, DEA, ATF, and the U.S. Marshal Service need to protect their core missions, ensuring the safety, security, and rights of the American people. I also look forward to continuing to work with you to ensure oversight and accountability regarding the new FBI headquarters and making sure that it meets the mission and security requirements of the FBI. And I welcome all the witnesses today as we recognize key members of our American law enforcement family during National Police Week. I look forward to hearing about the various budget requests, but we should acknowledge that we are not gathered here at this hearing at a normal time, because what we are learning about what's happening at the FBI is anything but normal. Director Patel, as you ask for more taxpayer resources.
Okay, it's getting ready to start. Okay, I want everybody, if you got to go to the bathroom, okay, anybody that got to go get their pamper, all right, you heard what he just said. Wait a minute. Did y'all hear what he just said? Now, you know it's about to be on and popping. You know it's about to be on and popping. Everybody come on in. Thank you so much, Lila. You know it's about to, he said, everything that's going on at the FBI is anything but normal. Let's listen, y'all.
We cannot look away from the credible, extremely troubling reports about your misconduct at the FBI.
Ooh!
All four of you hold positions of great public trust. The American people trust that each of you will responsibly exercise your powers to protect them. You're expected to be on call night and day, able to make quick decisions to guard our nation's security. You must always be prepared to answer that call, whether it comes at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. That is your duty. Director Patel, I don't care one bit about your private life, and I don't give a damn about what you do on your own time and your own dime, unless and until it interferes with your public responsibilities. Being the director of the FBI is an awesome responsibility. And when your private actions make it impossible for you to perform your public duties, we have a big problem. You cannot perform those public duties if you're incapacitated. And Director Patel, these reports about your conduct, including reports of your being so drunk and hungover that your staff had to force entry into your home, are extremely alarming. If true, they demonstrate a gross dereliction of your duty and a betrayal.
Wait a hot diggity dog minute. Wait a minute. But the thing is, Spooky, they can't even kick him, because the man that starts with the T They all are protected by him. So he has them under contract, allegedly, no matter what crime or whatever they do, as long as they protect him, he gonna come in, because he got his behind over there in China. He over there in China, falling asleep in the meetings in China. They got pictures of him. I was waiting for him. He over there, that man, the Chinese man is wearing him out. He got him at this statue, this museum. He walking them all around. And see, the man that starts with a T is like a little baby. You know how you take a little baby to the park and you wear his little behind out, and by the time he gets home, he's ready to go to sleep. He falls asleep in the car. He like, because you know, ran him around the park. Well, the Chinese man was taking him to this museum, this dinner, that dinner, and then all of a sudden, here comes the picture circulating. He knocked out in the meeting again. Knocked
public
out.
trust.
Let's listen.
I cannot imagine ever having to worry
We gotta
about
rewind
former
that. I
FBI
gotta
directors
rewind that
Wray
back, yo.
or Mueller spending multiple weekends drinking heavily at the Poodle Room in Las Vegas.
I gotta run at the poodle. Ooh, they got where he was drinking. At the Poodle Room. Where's my people from Las Vegas? Where is the Poodle Room? Where is the pool? I told you this is gonna be a hoot nanny today. Everybody sharify it. Everybody sharify this. This is going to be a hoot nanny today. Everybody sharify it. Right? Where is the Poodle Room? Shada, you know about the Poodle Room? Where's the Poodle Room, y'all? Wait a minute. I gotta run it back. See, they miss it. See, they don't want to push my room out. They don't push my content out. Everybody's missing it, but that's okay. I'll go over it again too. So this is
now I understand that you've denied
something
these
that
reports,
we need to watch twice.
and you will.
Okay, let's go back. Listen. Didn't you notice that he didn't waste no time getting into it? This man didn't waste no time getting into this. Let's listen.
Tell, I don't care one bit about your private life, and I don't give a damn about what you do on your own time and your own dime, unless and until it interferes with your public.
Everybody coming on in. We watching the Congress meeting with you know, the man, K to the P, the head of the FBI. All right, they got him, boy. They ripping him a new one. He out there drinking at the Poodle Room. You supposed to be out there trying to find out where, and we got Nancy Guthrie a couple of updates too, but you supposed to be out there trying to find out where Nancy Guthrie is. And here you is out there. We was wondering where you was at. You out there drinking in the Poodle Room. Let me have another one, bartender.
Responsibility.
What job? Look, I forgot I had a job. What job? Everything's all alleged. Let's listen.
Director of the FBI is an awesome responsibility. And when your private actions make it impossible for you to perform your public duties, we have a big problem. You cannot perform those public duties if you're incapacitated. And Director Patel, these reports about your conduct, including reports of your being so drunk and hungover that your staff had to force entry into your home, are extreme.
I hit that by accident.
If
true,
hold
on. We gotta go back.
They demonstrate a gross dereliction of your duty and a betrayal.
See, all of them are leaking stuff out. They leaked emails from that dinner too. Candace was reading them. They leaked emails. But let's listen. Listen.
About what you do on your own time and your own dime, unless and until it interferes with your public responsibilities. Being the director of the FBI is an awesome responsibility. And when your private actions make it impossible for you to perform your public duties, we have a big problem.
Big problem.
You cannot perform those public duties if you're incapacitated. And Director Patel, these reports about your conduct, including reports of your being so drunk and hungover that your staff had to force entry into your home, are extremely alarming. If true, they demonstrate a gross dereliction of your duty and a betrayal of public trust. I cannot imagine ever having to worry about former FBI directors Wray or Mueller spending multiple weekends drinking heavily at the Poodle Room in Las Vegas. Now, I understand that you've denied these reports, and you will have a chance today here to challenge them. But the problem with your leadership does not end there. We're also witnessing a litany of other abuses. Political firings of trusted career agents whose only fault was following the facts and the law. That includes the firing of agents and staff from a special counterintelligence unit that monitored threats from Iran. Weaponizing the FBI to seek political revenge on former FBI Director James Comey and others. Using FBI investigative resources to go after journalists who write stories that you don't like. And just this morning, we learned more details about your firing of Brian Driscoll, a decorated FBI special agent with nearly 2 decades of experience. He claims in an interview that you made clear that his failure at the FBI was tied to, that his future at the FBI was tied to his political allegiance to Donald Trump. So you're asking for more resources at a time that you're misspending valuable resources on political revenge instead of focusing on defending our national security. I'm pleased, as the chairman said, that all of your agencies noticed our bipartisan opposition to the deep cuts from last year and have presented more robust plans this year. There's still major gaps to be addressed. One notable example among the DOJ programs is the elimination of the organized crime drug enforcement task forces. As I understand it, DEA was oddly sidelined in this process. I'm also concerned about diverting resources away from core missions of each of your agencies to fuel President Trump's mass deportation agenda. Trump told us he was going after the, quote, worst of the worst who posed a danger to our communities. That would be fine. But if you look at the Department of Homeland Security's own data, overwhelmingly the people being targeted and locked up pose no risk to public safety. So when you divert resources away from fighting serious violent crime to locking people up who mostly don't pose a risk to public safety, you're making us less, not more safe. Let me close by thanking the thousands of law enforcement personnel, both local, state, and federal, who work tirelessly each day to keep us all safe. And I look forward to the hearing and discussion today.
Who just came in?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Wait a minute. Who just came in here? Should I run it back? Cindy, did you just come in here? You've been in here, right, Cindy? Who just came? Okay, you did. Okay, I got to run it back for Cindy. Cindy, you got to hear this. the FBI director was drinking at the poodle room. The poodle room. We got to run it back just for Cindy. Well, listen to this. He ain't waste no time getting in that behind. All right, let's listen. Let's start this from the top, baby. We got to start this from the, take it from the top, baby. Okay, Mysterious. Let's listen. Let's listen.
On behalf of the entire Department of Justice and the Director of the FBI. As the chairman of this subcommittee, I've had the opportunity to meet with many dedicated professional law enforcement officers and staff at ATF, the DEA, FBI, and United States Marshal Service. I've long believed that these agencies, they also deserve, in addition to the FBI, in addition to the Department of Justice, the opportunity to explain to this committee the resources they need to execute their missions. Each of you, all these agencies are important, and I want this subcommittee to be able to hear from you and to ask you questions regarding your budget requests. Our witnesses will discuss their budget requests in greater detail today, so I'll only note that each component has requested an increase above the FY 2026 enacted levels. We've had several years of relatively flat budgets, and in the case of ATF, significant reductions. These agencies need additional resources to carry out their responsibilities effectively. I've seen firsthand the important work these agencies are doing in my home state, whether it's ATF expanding crime gun intelligence through its partnership at Wichita State University, DEA's effort to combat fentanyl trafficking and support law enforcement in rural communities across Kansas, the FBI's coordination with state and local partners as Kansas City prepares to host soccer matches during the FIFA 2026 World Cup, or the Marshals working alongside local law enforcement through fugitive task forces across the District of Kansas. Today's hearing is an opportunity for this committee to better understand the challenges facing each of your agencies, the resources you believe are necessary to carry out your missions, and how Congress can best support the men and women serving in the federal law enforcement. I appreciate each of you being here today, and I look forward to your testimony. Senator Van Hollen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to working with you again to write a bill that provides the resources the FBI, DEA, ATF, and the U.S. Marshal Service need to protect their core missions, ensuring the safety, security, and rights of the American people. I also look forward to continuing to work with you to ensure oversight and accountability regarding the new FBI headquarters and making sure that it meets the mission and security requirements of the FBI. And I welcome all the witnesses today as we recognize key members of our American law enforcement family during National Police Week. I look forward to hearing about the various budget requests, but we should acknowledge that we are not gathered here at this hearing at a normal time, because what we are learning about what's happening at the FBI is anything but normal. Director Patel, as you ask for more taxpayer resources, we cannot look away from the credible, extremely troubling reports about your misconduct at the FBI. All four of you hold positions of great public trust. The American people trust that each of you will responsibly exercise your powers to protect them. You're expected to be on call night and day, able to make quick decisions to guard our nation's security. You must always be prepared to answer that call, whether it comes at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. That is your duty. Director Patel, I don't care one bit about your private life, and I don't give a damn about what you do on your own time and your own dime, unless and until it interferes with your public responsibilities. Being the director of the FBI is an awesome responsibility. And when your private actions make it impossible for you to perform your public duties, we have a big problem. You cannot perform those public duties if you're incapacitated. And Director Patel, these reports about your conduct, including reports of your being so drunk and hungover that your staff had to force entry into your home, are extremely alarming. If true, they demonstrate a gross dereliction of your duty and a betrayal of public trust. I cannot imagine ever having to worry about former FBI directors Wray or Mueller spending multiple weekends drinking heavily at the Poodle Room in Las Vegas. Now, I understand that you've denied these reports, and you will have a chance today here to challenge them. But the problem with your leadership does not end there. We're also witnessing a litany of other abuses, political firings of trusted career agents whose only fault was following the facts and the law. That includes the firing of agents and staff from a special counterintelligence unit that monitored threats from Iran, weaponizing the FBI to seek political revenge on former FBI Director James Comey and others, using FBI investigative resources to go after journalists who write stories that you don't like.
Right.
And just this morning, we learned more details about your firing of Brian Driscoll, a decorated FBI special agent with nearly 2 decades of experience. He claims in an interview that you made clear that his failure at the FBI was tied to that his future at the FBI was tied to his political allegiance to Donald Trump. So you're asking for more resources at a time that you're misspending valuable resources on political revenge instead of focusing on defending our national security. I'm pleased, as the chairman said, that all of your agencies noticed our bipartisan opposition to the deep cuts from last year and have presented more robust plans this year. There's still major gaps to be addressed. One notable example among the DOJ programs is the elimination of the organized crime drug enforcement task forces. As I understand it, DEA was oddly sidelined in this process. I'm also concerned about diverting resources away from core missions of each of your agencies to fuel President Trump's mass deportation agenda. Trump told us he was going after the, quote, worst of the worst who posed a danger to our communities. That would be fine. But if you look at the Department of Homeland Security's own data, overwhelmingly the people being targeted and locked up pose no risk to public safety.
Right.
So when you divert resources away from fighting serious violent crime to locking people up who mostly don't pose a risk to public safety, you're making us less, not more safe. Let me close by thanking the thousands.
Because he's right about that. They started out with saying, oh, we're going to deport all the illegal aliens, allegedly. Then it turned into a shitification show. They was targeting everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's being a casualty and catching strays. They just reckless, right? But that drink, boy, drinking at the poodle room took me out, y'all. It took me out. Where is the pool? Where's my Las Vegas people? Tell us and let us know where the poodle room is at.
Of law enforcement personnel, both local, state, and federal, who work tirelessly each day to keep us all safe.
The poodle room gonna have a lot of business.
And I look forward to the hearing and discussion today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Ranking Member. I look forward to working with you as we work our way through these budget requests and our appropriations process. I now recognize our witnesses for their testimony, and I recognize the Director of the FBI.
Oh, they got witnesses?
Kash Patel.
Uh-oh.
Good afternoon, Chairman Moran, Ranking Member Van Hollen, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for inviting me to represent the FBI's fiscal year 2027. It's an honor to represent 36,000 men and women of the FBI that serve around the country and around the world, especially during Police Week.
Director, would you pull the mic closer, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
This week, especially for Police Week, we pause to commemorate the incredible dedication and bravery of our law enforcement communities across the country who stand on the front lines and shield our citizens from dangers and threaten our everyday way of life. Every day, the FBI safeguards our nation's safety and security with our law enforcement partners. To achieve our no-fail mission, we fully support the President's budget proposal for the FBI for $12.53 billion to get us right-sized. Before getting into specifics, I'd like to highlight that the importance of the FBI mission is never more important than at this critical time, especially during the recent violent attacks during the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which all too many of us were there. I was proud that the FBI within moments immediately jumped into action, launched a bi-coastal investigation, launched fixed wing and rotary assets and men and women in evidence response teams, bomb technicians, and interviews. And within 24 hours, we had that evidence from California to Boston, back in Washington, D.C., and the individual was charged. That is truly exemplary work by the interagency and our state and local partners and the men and women of the FBI. Thanks to the brilliant personnel at the FBI, this year has been truly historic in the reduction of crime. It has been a record-breaking year. We have seen in 2025 alone a historic 20-point decline in the nation's murder rate. We also saw 44,000 violent offenders arrested by this FBI last year alone. To put that in perspective, that's twice as many violent offenders.
You notice he trying to ignore everything he said, but I'm willing to bet the whole meeting is going to turn into that, because I heard him mention something about witnesses. Okay, so he went on like it's business as usual. No, sir, we want to talk about the poodle room, right? Let's listen.
Offenders arrested in all of 2024. The FBI seized more than 2,200 kilograms of fentanyl last year. That's a 31% increase from 2024. That's enough to kill 180 million Americans across this country. The FBI arrested 8 of our top 10 most wanted fugitives in just 14 months. To put that in perspective, that's double the number of the entirety of the prior administration. We've made over 3,000 arrests and seized over 1,000 firearms at the border, including 90 high-value targets from Mexico brought here for prosecution. And through our leadership in the Homeland Security Task Force and Interagency, a 6-week effort led by the HSTFs contributed to 400 operations, 32 federal agents working it, and 91 metric tons of drugs were seized. We've also seen unprecedented progress in protecting our most vulnerable, our children. In 2025, we located more than 6,300 missing kids. That's a 30% increase from 2024. And we arrested more than 2,000 child predators and human traffickers in 2025. That's a 17% increase from 2024. We also wiped out 4 million pedophile accounts off the dark web entirely. And we also focused in on the 764 network, those who especially target our youth and are vulnerable online. And we saw a 500% increase in the arrest of the NVE community. In terms of national security, we've been equally aggressive on that front as well, on the counterterrorism side, on the domestic and homegrown violent extremist side. And there's no overstating that our work, the men and women at the FBI, proudly stopped 4 terrorist attacks in the month of December last year alone in California, Pennsylvania, Texas, and New York. We also stood up the NSPM Joint Mission Center, integrating intelligence and operational expertise across our agencies to disrupt political violence and domestic terrorism. We finally
look at him. He got his little speech ready of what he did. You ain't do nothing, but we'll let you go off though. Where's Maduro?
our capabilities at the FBI with an AI
Maduro?
advancement that the FBI workforce has not seen.
You mean the president of Venezuela? That Maduro? I think he's in jail. He's in jail. You know what I'm saying? So let's let him finish his little sweet speech of what he did, because they get ready to rip him a new one.
This guy is up using AI 230% across our enterprise. The Bureau is fully engaged in defending against cyber attacks from nation-state adversaries, criminals, and everything in between. Last year, our Internet Crime Complaint Center fielded more than 1 million complaints that totaled nearly $21 billion in losses based on cyber theft. We've also seen an increase in complex financial crime arrests, included 400 indictments, and seized over $1.6 billion in funds related to those crimes, a 65% increase. Maybe most impactful in terms of scams, the FBI has led the overseas operations in Cambodia, Thailand, and Burma, crippling the scam center compound stood up by the CCP, including the arrest of an individual responsible for $14 billion in scams alone. And we're scuttling these compounds one by one. Just last week in Dubai, thanks to the cooperation of the FBI and the Dubai National Police and MPS, we arrested 300 individuals, freed 2,000 people who forced into traffic labor, and shut down a $4 billion scam center that was operating to fleece Americans and seniors of their hard-earned dollars. The FBI's unique authorities on these front lines show that we're defending the homeland. Just last month, we extradited Zhu Zhuwei, one of the top 2 cyber hackers from Italy. They say we couldn't get him. They thought the CCP was going to get him, but now he's here in prison. Our work collectively on the counterintelligence mission speaks for itself. 43% more counterintelligence arrests in 2025 than all of 2024 from China, DPRK, Russia, and elsewhere. And as you know, to Mr. Chairman, we are busy getting ready for protecting Americans from every event of the Olympics, the World Cup, the F1, the Super Bowl, as we drive into 2028. But this summer, all eyes are focused on the World Cup, and the FBI and DHS stand ready, learning from our valuable experiences and focusing on a 14-month lift to ensure everybody is taken care of when they visit our country for this World Cup event. Lastly, we have secured record-breaking achievements to include task force officers from around the country, including deputizing our own officers, reducing the task force officer pipeline from 14 months to 60 days, allowing men and women in law enforcement to work together at speeds that have never been delivered before. With your continued support, this FBI stands ready to continue this great work, and I stand ready to answer any and all questions from you. And categorically, Mr. Vice Chairman, when you say there's credible reporting, just because you say it's credible doesn't make it so. This FBI is doing a historic level of crime reduction across the country. I'm proud to lead it. And if you want to cite media reporting to discredit the men and women of the FBI, go right ahead. The target's right here. The mission has never been more successful.
Child, please.
Rare earth elements power modern life. America once led their production. Today, nearly all come from China. It doesn't have to be that way. Florida's phosphate used to grow food creates a byproduct.
Boy, what did y'all type in the comments? What did y'all type in the comments? Mr. Andy Crazy? If you type something in the comments, the clock is filtered and type in another way. All right? Everybody put hashtags. Let's build the room out. It's a shame that the clock doesn't push my room out. Because this is good content that people need to see, boy. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, let's continue to listen.
Administrator Terrence Cole, Drug Enforcement Agency.
Chairman Moran, Ranking Member Van Hollen, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. It's an honor to be here during National Police Week when we recognize the men and women of law enforcement who have given their lives in the line of duty. I appreciate your continued support of the Drug Enforcement Administration and nearly 9,000 professionals who carry out the mission across the United States and around the world. As a law enforcement veteran of more than 30 years, I come before you with a straightforward message. The threat we face today is unlike anything we've seen before. The DEA's mission has never been more urgent. Fentanyl continues to kill Americans at alarming rates. It's not just another drug threat. It's a weapon of mass destruction.
Hey, Kalila.
Measured in American lives lost every day. It's produced and distributed by
Kalila,
transnational.
you missed it. They ripped him a new one. They ripped the cockeyed a new one. They say he was drinking at the Poodle Room. Have you ever heard of the Poodle Room in Las Vegas, Kalila? They said Patel was having cocktails at the pool room, and his staff had to force entry his house to get him out of there.
Organizations
Cockeye.
that have industrialized.
You know that the head of the F to the B to the IZ, you know, K to the PZ. You know what I'm saying? They get ready to rip him a new one. I wish he was here from the beginning, boy. They said that he was drinking in the pool room and then showed to work, and they had to knock the door down. That sounds like the boom boom room.
Death for profit. The Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation cartels, now designated foreign terrorist organizations, are driving this crisis. They operate as a global enterprise. They use sophisticated supply chains, financial networks, and technology to move poison into our communities.
I don't know. I'm looking at this dude, and his head reminds me of a blow pop, don't it? Remember when I was younger, you used to get the blow pops? I haven't had one of those in a while. He's making me want to have a lollipop, one of those blow pops with the gum in the middle. Let's listen.
Highly adaptive, and relentless. We have to be just as relentless in our response. And DEA is leading the fight. We're taking the fight directly to these organizations with aggressive, intelligence-driven enforcement.
Oh, it's a
Our focus
speakeasy
is clear.
room. Okay.
Target leadership.
Thank you for
Break
the
their
orange
command
wine.
and
Thank
control.
You, Simpson.
Disrupt supply
Everybody
chains.
come on
Hold
in.
accountable those who profit
So they're
from the addiction.
They're confronting the head of the FBI allegedly for him drinking in the poodle room. Okay, he was having drinks in the poodle room. The poodle room gonna have a lot of business. All right, what's up, Simpson? What's up with you? All right, let's listen.
In death, including the global networks that supply precursor chemicals to make fentanyl production possible. And we are delivering results. In one recent coordinated surge, DEA and our partners made more than 600 arrests. We seized hundreds of kilograms of fentanyl, multi-ton quantities of cocaine and meth, hundreds of firearms, and more than $11 million in U.S. currency. Across our fentanyl operations, we've made thousands of arrests tied to trafficking networks, seized millions of fentanyl pills, removed hundreds of kilograms of.
Let's flow with it. Let's flow with it,
and hide profits. Our reach is both global and local. DEA operates in 82 offices across 62 countries and maintains a presence of 26 field divisions with more than 200 offices here at home. This allows us to attack the problem from source to the street. We do this work with discipline and accountability. DEA's workforce is a driven agency. We have nearly 9,000 employees on board against an authorized level of nearly 9,700 employees. That includes just over 4,000 special agents on board compared to nearly 4,800 authorized. We prioritize putting people where they have the greatest impact, on the front lines. We're also careful stewards of the taxpayers' resources. More than 80% of our budget supports mandatory costs like salaries. Only a small portion is available for operational work. That means every operational dollar has to count, and it does. We prioritize keeping agents in the field, focus our resources on action that dismantles organizations and removes drugs from our community. We measure success by impact, networks disrupted, communities protected, lives saved.
Chaos.
The president's budget reflects confidence in that approach. It supports DEA's mission, our results, and our stewardship of resources entrusted to us. At the same time, the threat continues to evolve. These organizations move fast. They exploit global supply chains, digital platforms, and financial systems. To keep the pace, DEA has to strengthen its capacity in intelligence, data, and technology. This means giving our agents and analysts the tools to connect information, identify networks, and act quickly. It means improving how we share intelligence with federal, state, local, tribal, and international partners. And it means making sure our workforce has what it needs to do the job. This is about enabling investigators to get out from behind the desk and onto the streets where they have the greatest impact. Our mission is simple: protect Americans and save American lives. We do this by enforcing the law, dismantling organizations driving this crisis, and working with our partners across the country and around the world. The men and women of DEA understand what is at stake. They see it every day. They carry out this mission with professionalism and purpose. With your continued support, we will stay on the offensive. We will keep pressure on the cartels. We will continue to disrupt networks driving the fentanyl crisis. And we will continue to protect Americans with the resources you entrust to us. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Administrator. Now, Director Seralta of the United States Marshal Service. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, subcommittee members. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to testify on behalf of the United States Marshal Service fiscal year 2027 President's budget request. The United States Marshal Service occupies a uniquely central position in the federal justice system. While protecting the judiciary, we're also the enforcement arm of the federal courts, involved in virtually every federal law enforcement initiative.
Happy Friday.
Further, we are the federal government's primary agency for fugitive investigations and have the broadest arrest authority among federal law enforcement agencies. The U.S. Marshal Service has been at the apex of federal judicial protection, investigation, and enforcement with vast mission responsibilities such as witness protection and prisoner management as well. The United States Marshal Service is unique from all other agencies and has no control over the workload for our primary mission, protecting, defending, and enforcing the American justice system. For example, we cannot control the number of threats to our protectees and the subsequent required protection details. Prisoners that enter our custody cannot be controlled. How many federal witnesses we protect, or how many judicial proceedings are held each year. We're excited to work with you in advancing the United States Marshal Service forward in fiscal year 2027.
What's up, Cole?
This will require increases
What's
in
up,
personal
Broughton Sky? What's up,
equipment
Broughton
and
Sky?
equipment for critical safety needs. Our
Cash
total
likes to
budget
enjoy a little.
request for nearly $5.2 billion includes, God bless you,
Oh,
$2.2 billion for salaries and
hold on, I gotta
expenses,
change the banner, y'all.
$15 million for construction, and $3 billion for federal prisoner detention. Our workforce is one of the smallest in the federal law enforcement, at about 3,800 deputy U.S. Marshals.
Everybody
However,
continue
in
sharing.
fiscal year 2025, we arrested
Hashtags.
over 73,000 fugitives, conducted over 308,000 prisoner movements, housed over 55,000 prisoners, managed 37,000 assets worth $10.4 billion, provided security details for 18 protectees, in addition to securing the residences of the U.S. Supreme Court justices. Our continued success depends on our ability to provide the appropriate funding and personnel to support. Our continued success depends on our ability to provide the appropriate funding
Thank
and
you,
personnel to support our missions. The fiscal year 2027 President's budget request maintains and advances funding for core activities. The U.S. Marshal Service requests program increases
Thank you so much.
of
Deshaun.
$478 million
Everybody
for
put
salaries and
hashtags in the
expenses
comments. Let's get the room up.
appropriation to support the addition of 918 positions, of which 645 positions are for much needed Deputy United States Marshals. The budget request increases funding for judicial security and protective operations, establishes a protective equipment program, provides permanent resources for safe task forces, expands immigration enforcement, right-sizes fugitive task forces, and institutes a cyclical replacement of vehicles. One highlight of the U.S. Marshal Service budget request is one that is always at the forefront of my heart and this committee's concern, and that's the safety and security of our law enforcement officers. This morning, at the Marshal Service headquarters, we honored our fallen as part of our National Police Week ceremonies, recognizing officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. We read the names of more than 300 of them. It is imperative that we provide the best equipment and training to aid in protecting our deputies while accomplishing our operational missions safely and successfully. I would like to discuss a matter of utmost importance: courthouse security and our construction appropriation. Unfortunately, the backlog of renovation projects to fix critical facility and security deficiencies
So Charlene put the hashtag the poodle room.
currently exceeds $484 million. Additional funding is necessary to maintain the infrastructure for the safety of the judicial officials, courtroom participants, the public, and our personnel. Lastly, the Marshal Service is required to house all detainees remanded to the custody of the Attorney General and must ensure sufficient resources are available for their housing and care. We have had some funding challenges in the last few years and appreciate the President's budget request of $3 billion. In closing,
Thank you so
our
much,
continued
Andrea.
success depends on our ability to provide the appropriate funding and personnel to support these vital functions. And so on behalf of the brave men and women of the United States Marshal Service, I thank you.
They put the
All
pen
right.
down like it's a
right,
piece of
everybody, come on
art. They
in.
make me feel that way.
You know, they have commercials. So
Hello.
it's getting
My
ready
name
to
is
get
Adam
good,
Ferrari,
y'all.
Chief
It's
Executive
getting ready to
Officer
get
of
that. He
Phoenix
did
Energy.
that little,
I look forward
he
to
did
you
that
joining
little
us for
gag
next
in the
investor
beginning.
webinar, where you can drill
But
deeper
they're going to
into our
continue gagging them.
$9.50
Thank you
annual
so much,
interest rate
Andrea.
bond
Thank you, thank you, thank
See how
you.
our company has
Everybody
become
come
an
on in.
emerging
It's
leader in the
Friday.
oil and gas
Everybody
industry.
tapify. Everybody
2024,
sharify.
Phoenix
Let's
Energy
get the
rose to
room
become
out
the
there.
11th most
All
prolific
right, we should
oil
have
and gas
100 people in the
operator
room
basin,
today.
one
All
of
right, so
America's
let's get it
top
out there
producing regions.
and let's
We are now right alongside industry
join the
giants like
Discord. Get your
ConocoPhillips and EOG,
tapification.
and plan to
And
continue
everybody,
rising in the rankings.
join the super fans if you can. All right, let's go. Let's listen.
Thank you. And now Robert Sakata, the director of the
I made
Alcohol,
it in.
Tobacco,
Hey,
Firearms,
Jules.
and
Come on in, Jules.
I
How
appreciate
are
your
you?
attendance. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Chairman Moran, Ranking Member Van Hollen, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss the President's fiscal year 2027 budget request for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. I am truly honored to be here.
I know he liked that they're discussing the alky to the whole.
ATF is the only federal law enforcement agency whose primary mission is combating violent crime. We arrest violent criminals, disrupt firearms trafficking networks that arm gangs and cartels, investigate bombings and arsons, and deliver world-class forensic intelligence services to state and local partners, all while protecting the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding Americans. We are a small federal agency with roughly 4,600 employees, but we are mighty.
I want them
Our
to get to
actions
the
speak
good
for
part.
themselves. Since January 20th, 2025,
See, I don't want to
ATF
skip
has
because we
arrested
might miss
over
some.
8,700 criminals and seized nearly 44,000 firearms. Approximately 5,100 were interdicted before they were trafficked into Mexico. Just over 2.7 million rounds of ammunition and more than 28,300 illegal explosives were also interdicted and seized as evidence. ATF also investigated more than 3,500 arson and explosives incidents and deployed the national response team to 22 callouts, including the Palisades wildfire in California. We completed more than 11,000 FFL inspections and processed nearly 856,000 firearm trace requests for our state and local partners.
Your
We've
eyebrows,
also been very busy making operational improvements to our e-forms processing times. Between January 1, 2026 and April 14, 2026, ATF received more than 1 million e-form applications and finalized nearly 924,000 of those applications. Get to the good part. Today we are on track to hit a new record.
What's that?
By the end of May, we will have processed as many e-form 1 and 4 applications in 2026 as we did in the entirety of 2023.
Hold up, y'all. What's up, situation? I shouted you out the other day, but I think you had left by the time I looked up. You had left because you know I'd be in my commentary. What's up, situation? How are you? Thank you so much. Welcome to the room. Yo, we on the B to the I to the G-O app too. So make sure you edify me over there. All right. Situation. So situation, we listening to Congress. They are ripping the head of the the FBI. Okay, I want to brief everybody that's coming in. All right. So they ripping cockeye, the new one. I call him Cockeye. That's his code name, right? They ripping him a new one, allegedly, because the peoples in them, because all those people was around them, but they getting a lot of leaks. People are leaking emails. Candace, Candace, the podcaster, she just got an email about the night of the so-called punification dinner. All right, she got an email that she's blowing up, that they emailing each one, planning how they're going to promote it for the ballroom and how they're going to get the best promotions out of the alleged puming. So mad people around them, right, can't stand that man that starts with a T, and they just stay around, right, and pretend they still in it so that they leaking information. They're leaking information. So they done went back and told that allegedly the head of the FBI, Cape to the PATEL, okay, I don't want to say his whole name because they target content creators and reporters who don't talk nice about them. They target us, right? So we guys mixed the words up. So they went back and told him that he was drinking so much they had to break that door down. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't showing up to work. He was locking himself in the room. And then he was over there at this place in Las Vegas called the Poodle Room. The Poodle Room. He was drinking in the pool. Where's my people from Las Vegas? They said it's a speakeasy. They said it's a speakeasy over here, Charlene. Who said it's a speakeasy? Right? Who said it's a speakeasy? So we listening to Congress, right? So they talking business now, right? But they're going to get back to ripping him a new one. And I say about one business day, they're going to get back to ripping him.
We have done all of this while cutting e-forms one processing times from 47 days to 42 days, and cutting e-form 4 processing times from 230 days in 2023 to just 12 days today. The funds Congress has appropriated to date have allowed ATF to make a tangible difference in communities throughout the country every single day. ATF provides critical services to state and local law enforcement at no cost, including firearms tracing, ballistic intelligence, and forensic laboratory examinations involving firearms, arson, and explosives. These capabilities are central to identifying shooters, disrupting trafficking networks, and solving violent crime. ATF is grateful for this funding and has achieved a tremendous result, but without adequate investments by Congress, these results are not further sustainable. That is what makes the President's FY27 budget request for ATF so important. It totals $1.652 billion for salaries and expenses with 4,749 full-time equivalents. It is what ATF requires to sustain our mission. Notably, the administration's budget includes 2 program enhancements, $7.8 million for NIBIN and $25.8 million for combating gun violence. The NIBIN enhancement will enable ATF to replace aging ballistics imaging equipment and expand correlation services to additional sites. This would ensure timely investigative lead generation, allowing law enforcement to identify and apprehend violent offenders more effectively. The combating gun violence enhancement will enable ATF to add 86 positions, including 60 special agents, to support the expansion of firearms trafficking task forces along the southwest border and increase ATF's ability to identify, disrupt, and dismantle cross-border smuggling operations. If enacted, the administration's budget will enable ATF to sustain core capabilities, modernize critical infrastructure, and continue providing and expanding access to services for law enforcement partners, allowing us to continue focusing on our unique mission of.
It sounds good. They talking all that smack, but they know they ain't doing a hot diggity dog. You ain't doing nothing. But we gonna let them go off though. We want to get to the part where you go back. They get ready to go back. They gonna go back in on
combating violent crime.
It's coming, y'all.
The Senate has been a staunch supporter of ATF's mission. I'm deeply grateful for that. I look forward to continuing to work together. I thank you all again. I look forward to your questions.
Director Sakata, thank you very much. We'll now begin with a round of questions, and I'll begin with you, Administrator Cole. I just returned from a visit to China, where in conversations with Chinese leaders, we again push the issue of.
And y'all, as I told y'all before, they already sending pictures around The man that starts with a T is over in China. Fall asleep at the door. They having a whole big meeting, and he like this. Look, he like this. Because a little Chinaman ran him around, took him to the museum, took him to here, probably ran him around the park a couple of times, wore him out. He in the China meeting, he like this. I'm like, what in the world?
Precursor chemicals and their import to Mexico, and ultimately the drugs to the United States. I've also been to Mexico and met with the leadership there to encourage them to discourage China from continuing to import those precursors. What's the DEA? What are you doing as the administrator to engage those foreign partners in China as well as other places, India, for example, to break down this supply chain?
Senator, thank you. And DEA is laser focused on targeting and disrupting the supply chain out of China as well as in India. We've held 2 bilaterals this year with Chinese officials, one at DEA headquarters and the other one at our Rocky Mountain Field Division. We continue to work on the ground in Beijing, China, with NCB, the National Control Board in China, as well as MPS, the Ministry of Public Safety. We continue to stay engaged. We continue to target the Chinese organizations that are sending this precursor chemicals into Mexico for the manufacturing of fentanyl to come across our border. We will continue to stay on our front foot. We'll continue to target. We'll continue to work with U.S. Ambassador David Perdue on the ground in China, who has been a tremendous advocate on the ground, not only for all federal law enforcement, but for protecting American citizens in our country from this danger of the precursor chemicals that continue to flow into Mexico and into Colombia.
Trader, how do you evaluate the interest, the willingness of the Chinese officials and other foreign countries, their leadership in actually assisting in keeping the precursors out?
And at the ground level, we're working extremely well. I think there are still barriers that are in place. I know the president's visit this week will be fruitful as we continue to stay on the offense when it comes to protecting Americans to this precursor chemicals that continue to flow into Mexico and China. The Mexican authorities have stepped up their game
what is he even doing
with bilateral
over there?
cooperation.
What is
I
he
think
doing
everybody
over
at this
there?
table has seen an increase in the cooperation with Mexico, but we need more. We can only determine the effect when we start to see the decrease in Americans that are dying at the hands of this poison that is coming out of Mexico, but it's being fueled by China and India.
Oh.
Thank you for your efforts, and I look forward to results. Director Serralta, you are the second U.S. Marshal I ever met in a visit to Florida when you were in the District of Florida, and I appreciate the hospitality you extended to me, 3 years ago or so, as I tried to learn about the Marshal Service in this capacity I hold on this committee. You mentioned infrastructure at courthouses. I've taken an interest over the years in the Commerce, Justice, Science Subcommittee working to provide additional resources for judiciary security. And that has included security operations, courthouse security, protective details, and threat response capabilities. We've also worked to provide legislation so that information can be removed from websites regarding members of the judiciary and their families. You mentioned another aspect of this in your testimony, and that's about infrastructure. I leaned back to my staff to ask if this subcommittee has jurisdiction over infrastructure at courthouses, which I didn't necessarily think we did, but we do because it comes out of your budget. So I want to give you the chance to highlight, for me at least, what's the current circumstances that our judges and court officials face in regard to threats? And if you want to re-highlight for us the things that we might do to be helpful to make their persons more secure.
Thank you, Senator Moran. It was a pleasure to have you in Florida. I hope to do that again sometime.
You did that never knowing that you were going to be the director of the U.S. Marshals
I did not
Service,
know
I
that.
assume.
Correct. So our judicial security protective operations is due to the president's budget, to have an increase of $34.6 million. And that's going to strengthen and expand the protective operations mission by adding more dedicated teams and allow the USMS to surge resources when threats necessitate enhanced judicial security. But you bring about the question about the construction backlog, which I mentioned in my opening. The construction backlog is $484 million.
I want them to get to the good
and
part.
That includes 30 million of it for prisoner elevators.
See, I'm scared if I skip, I'm going to miss, because they're going to cut into them again. They're coming to it.
Anytime we have to take a prisoner through a different elevator up the steps, we risk the prisoner injuring himself or someone being injured by having the prisoner walking in unsecure locations. So it is a serious concern. It is something that I believe goes to the judicial security as a whole. The Marshal Service mitigates and we triage what areas we work with first with the input of the judiciary.
You would take just one more minute before I turn to Senator Van Hollen. What threats, what's the significance of the threats members of the judiciary and their court officers face today? Is it changing?
So for the last several years, there's been an increase in threats. Any threat that is a viable threat to a judge, to us, is serious business. It's something that we will investigate and arrest individuals and seek prosecution on. So there has been an increase in threats. It's been over the past several years, and it's fueled primarily by social media, where folks can be.
So they blaming all that, the people that want to get the man that starts with a T on social media. No, that's him. It's because of him. Stop blaming it on us. That's a total lie and a fabrication. Do y'all feel that it's because of social media that they want to get after him? No, it's what you doing. You going around selling gold cell phones that nobody's ever going to get. You're doing that. Allegedly, you're doing that. $100 down payment, 600,000 people, and you don't give them back a refund. You did that, not social media. Okay, they be blaming everything. They want everybody to sit there and not talk about what they're doing. Everybody on social media talking about what everybody's doing. You see a story, you talk about it. If you don't want dumb stuff being talked about, then don't do dumb shit, Nick. People be doing dumb stuff and then they expect you not to talk about it. Don't do dumb stuff and expect us not to talk about it and get mad at us because you here doing dumb stuff.
Brave on the internet, yet when we go meet up with them, they're not so brave.
Oh,
Thank
please.
you. Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you. Director Cicada, you hold a position of public trust. Do you agree that you should lead by example and be held to at least the same standard of conduct as you expect of ATF agents?
Here we go.
Yes, sir.
And would you agree that if one of your agents was unable to perform his or her duties because of excessive drinking, you would need to take corrective action or disciplinary measures?
Yes, sir.
Director Seralta?
So that ain't social media talking, sir. That's your asses, okay? That's y'all talking about him drinking at the pool room. That's not us talking about the pool room. That's you talking about the pool room.
Same question for you with respect to the U.S. Marshal Service. Do you agree with the responses from Director Cicada?
Ranking Member Van Hollen, that would be correct. I would do that after a thorough investigation by our internal affairs.
Yeah, we don't trust your investigation.
Administrator Cole,
Get out of here.
same question to you with respect to the DEA.
Yes, sir. I would echo what Rod and Gaddy have said after a thorough review by our OPR, Office of Professional Responsibility. Yes, sir.
Director Patel?
Then get him out of here. Get him out of here.
So you agree, Director Patel, that if one of your agents was unable to perform his or her duties because of excessive drinking, you would need to take corrective or disciplinary action. You agree with that statement?
We would implement the inspection review process, just like these other agencies have their own internal investigations, and complete that review.
As I said in my opening remarks, I really don't care about your personal life so long as you are able to perform your public and official responsibilities, which are awesome responsibilities.
Awesome.
Multiple reports,
Awesome
including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive
Very
drinking,
dismissive.
unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. So today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel were unable to promptly reach you?
Absolutely not. You can ask my entire workforce. They hear from me at every single hour of the day, as do these great gentlemen here, as do the men and women of the interagency and state and local law enforcement and the White House.
And so there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you. Is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike
I
your
will
baseless
say,
reports,
Director
the only person
Patel,
that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a
Director
$7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you.
This
the only
suggests
individual in
to
this
me
room
allegations
that has been drinking
are true.
on taxpayer dime during
Are
the
you
day
polygraphing?
is you.
Director Patel, come on. These are serious allegations that were made against you. They're in the lawsuit that you filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger is true and on
it just
video.
goes to show you
running a $7,000 bar tab.
Wait, one hot diggy doggy diggy. He said he was drinking margaritas with a gangbanger, y'all. Do y'all
But the lobby bar has been filed by your own office.
This goes to show
during the day. That's you. This is the ultimate example of hypocrisy. I will not be tarnished by baseless allegations
let me
and fraudulent statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now, here,
The only thing I know is you're the one drinking margaritas with them.
Actually, that's a false statement. And I'm asking you about your statements.
I've answered that.
And I'm asking you about a particular report. And
it's not
her testimony is, so let me ask you this. Are you willing to take the test that it's called the audit test that members of our active duty military and others take to determine what they have to take? Do you take it?
Let's go.
Yes or no?
Let's go. Side by side.
I'll take it. All right. I think that the fact that you're so, have you ordered polygraph tests of members of your team to determine how that story came about?
Oh, polygraph.
The FBI conducts polygraph tests all the time.
No, have you ordered polygraph tests for members of your team?
Oh, they gonna make, so is the alcohol test, y'all? Is it a polygraph test? Is it a polygraph test that you gotta take? What kind of test is that? I hope it's a polygraph test. It just get him. Yeah, ask about the photo room. Where you at the photo? You was at the photo room. You was at the photo room. He better hope not.
To determine who was the source of the stories that I'm asking you about.
I don't order any polygraph tests. There's an internal inspection review process for any and all leaks, especially of baseless information at the FBI that's been in place for the last 30 years. Those processes are followed by career intelligence and agents on the ground.
So I'll take that as a yes, since you said that these were unauthorized disclosures. I have another round of questioning regarding your firing people who were important to gathering intelligence with respect to Iran, but I'll wait for my second round. Thank you, Chairman.
Senator Collins, we're pleased to have the chairwoman of the full committee with us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, the proliferation of illegal marijuana grow houses connected to transnational criminal organizations originating in China is an ongoing problem in the state of Maine. A DHS memo in 2023 estimated that Maine had as many as 270 Chinese-backed illegal marijuana operations, producing up to...
Why is her voice doing a Harlem Shake? Her voice is doing a Harlem Shake. It's making me nervous. Like, these people are too, they need to get some younger people in Congress and running our country. They need to let the young people take over. Because these old people, he at the pool room, her voice doing a Harlem Shake. I can't take it no more, y'all. Now let's listen.
An estimated $4.3 billion in illicit revenues. Since then, thousands of pounds of illegal marijuana have been seized, primarily because of the tireless work of our Maine sheriffs and local law enforcement in Maine. One other side effect of these illegal grow operations is they usually destroy the houses in which they're located, which exacerbates the housing shortage in my state. Last year, you testified that the FBI would be sending more resources to the field, specifically to Maine, to combat these dangerous operations.
Thank you. Come on,
I
let's
speak
get the
with
100K.
Maine sheriffs frequently about this problem, and they have reported some improvement in federal interest and participation. For example, federal support has been critical to track money laundering, which is often linked to these operations, and in providing interpreter services to question individuals who are arrested, who often appear to have been trafficked and forced to work and live at these sites under hazardous conditions and don't speak English. Bring me up to date on how the FBI is working to address these dangerous grow houses that are operating not just in Maine, although we're a particular target, but Oklahoma, California, and other states as well. It's essential that we have support from FBI, from DEA, from Treasury. This has to be an all-of-government effort to close these operations down.
Senator, I couldn't agree with you more. And what we did since you and I we spoke in between you last year in this hearing, but the HSTFs that we stood up, the Homeland Security Task Forces that we stood up in 59 locations across the country, co-led by DHS and FBI, have specifically targeted the marijuana grow house operations, especially tied to the Chinese. There's two problems there. The Chinese nationals that are doing most of the criminal activity related to the grow houses have either severed ties or covered their tracks very well, and has led us to be unable to determine their direct connectivity. I'm not saying it doesn't exist back to mainland China. That's kind of their MO on how they do, whether it's grow houses or any other criminal activity.
Hold up, y'all. I'm waiting for a message, right? I got to check it real quick because I hear Run DMC is supposed to be right down here where I'm at. Wait, hold on. Okay, I got the address, right? So who wants to go on a field trip today? Look, we down. Oh, the numbers is real low today, but that's okay. Who wants to go on a field trip? Okay, so we're going to go to a place where Run DMC and them is going to be at. They're going to have ciphers. They're going to have MC ciphers. I mean, I want to go and spectate. I don't want to really go. And I don't know. Sometimes you don't feel like really performing, like you always auditioning for people. I'm trying to promote my record and get paid. You know, I mean, I'll do a little something if they ask me to. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to go out there and then, you know, put on expedition, right? In New York, you know, you doing all this auditioning, and at the end of the result is that nobody helps you do nothing. You know what I'm saying? They like, oh, kick a freestyle. You know what I'm saying? I kick a freestyle, but my style ain't free. You know what I'm saying? From now on, you know, I'm trying to like go out and do some real shows. I'm tired of doing exhibitions and freestyling for these mother hubbas for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but I might do a little something. You know, I always go and I'm always prepared. You know what I'm saying? But I'm tired of these people making you perform like a doggone performance, you know, like you in a circus, and then nothing ever comes of it. It's a waste of my time at this point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a waste of my time, right? But we're going to go. So it's from 1 to 8. It's from 1 to 8. So we're going to stand here, and then we're going to go, all right? And because I got to go get dressed. I'm not dressed at all. So I got to go, you know, throw something on real quick and get dressed. It goes to 8, but I don't want to get there at 8. You know, we want to go there a little early, all right? So, yeah, so we'll go. So we'll wrap this up. I'll throw something on real quick, and then we'll run down there, all right? But let's listen.
So what we're doing with the HSTFs is reverse engineering those programs, taking down the grow houses, whether they're in Maine or Oklahoma, and tracing their banking.
So I was asking them, was it free? So we're going to check it. Hold on, let's check it. Is it free? Okay, he didn't answer me yet. Okay, he's going to answer me. I mean, if it's not free, you know, also DJ Scratch is DJing. So we're going to go down there and check it out. All right, let's listen.
Records and their financial statements to see what we can do with the sanctions program overseas and shut down the financiers of these operations.
Do we know where the money is going to? Some law enforcement officers in Maine believe it's tied to the fentanyl trade.
Yes, ma'am. I believe, as these gentlemen will tell you, the money always goes back into the drug trafficking trade, into the drug traffickers' pockets. And so that we're not seeing, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, what we're not seeing yet is the money directly being shipped back over to mainland China and the CCP from these grow house operations.
I would encourage you to even increase your efforts even more, because this remains a huge problem in Maine, despite the valiant efforts of our sheriffs and local law enforcement.
Oh, I forgot
Administrator Cole
an
update on
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Senator. And we continue to target those specific marijuana traffickers in Maine. As of recently, we had executed 44 search warrants in reference to Chinese underground marijuana houses, seized about 32,000 marijuana plants, over 500 pounds of marijuana. And as we continue to trace the Chinese underground banking system, where the funds are being fueled, as the Director Patel had said, they're often using dough as the instantaneous transfer of wealth. And what that requires our skilled investigators to do is to pull those findings off the blockchain, but to specifically look at exactly where those illicit gains are going to. We continue to stay on the offensive. Recently, with our Bangor main office, we've identified up to 250 potential locations where this is occurring. So this is on operation with our state, local partners and our federal partners, not only through our efforts, but the efforts of the Homeland Security Task Force that has come together. We will stay on the front foot. We will continue to target and investigate and bring them to justice. Unfortunately, they are embedded, which requires long-term, complex conspiracy work to continue to eradicate not only the poison of the narcotics, but the environmental dangers that they bring to these grow houses. So we will continue. We will keep you posted, Senator. My team is happy to follow up with your team to give you progress and update reports.
Oh,
thank you. What I have found is a lot of time constituents live near these houses, know what's going on. I mean, all of a sudden hours, they can smell in some cases, the marijuana. These are not the licensed operations that are legal in Maine. These individuals are not following any of the rules, and they are operating illegally.
So this is what we're gonna do, y'all. This is what we're gonna do, because we got 16 people in the room. All right. This is what we're gonna do, because they went back and forth. I don't know if they're gonna go back and forth anytime soon, because we want to see the showdown between Patel and them, you know, saying with him in the pool room. All right. So what we're gonna do, y'all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump off here. I'm gonna get dressed, and then we're gonna go on a field trip where Run DMC and them is gonna be at. We're gonna go on a field trip. So in order to go on a field trip, I gotta go and jump off now, so I could get dressed. I got to jump in the shower, get dressed, and then travel to the space. Okay, y'all understand? Everybody understand? So everybody, okay, the Y to the Tubesy, thank you for joining the show. All right, and I will catch y'all tomorrow. You do this makes me happy. Thank you, Ground and Sky. All right, everybody come back tomorrow. Thank you for everybody that came in, and we are going to go. Well, I don't know if I'm going to go live on here on the Y to the Tuesday, but we're going to come back on a field trip.
Is the Miss Knockout Show on the airwaves? So like, if I share, if I bless, if I the flow. Is the Miss Knockout Show? Now you already know. Hot topics, music, info, and more. If you ain't tapped in, what you came here for? MKO got the vibe, that's a full takeover. From beast to biz talk, yeah, the queen stay in clover. Trending every lane, I'm the glow you can't block. When I drop gems, whole chat goes shock. We don't do brokeify, now we amplify. Stay blessed if I let the energy fly. Hit that tapify, keep it all in the flow. Cause it's a Miss Knockout Show. Knockout Show. Hot topics, beats and the glow. You rock it with a Miss Knockout. Let's go. Let's fly.